Welcome to TLC, where we dive into the heart of our local community. It's wineries, restaurants, business, and real estate. Hi there, I'm Troy Anderson, along with my co-host Pamela.
Hello.
And we're here to bring you a new perspective on what's happening in our community. Today we also have a wonderful guest on the show, Greg Bakke. Did I say it right?
You did.
Oh, good. Oh, my gosh.
Nice work. Lots of practice.
Always have to practice.
And he's president of the board of directors for the Forgotten Children's Fund. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear more about this. I've seen you in and around the community with the chamber and
Sure.
the volunteer stuff you do for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, but first we're going to get into our Sipping on Success segment,
Yes,
right,
we
Pamela?
are. Yep. What do you have for us this week, Troy?
I have Avennia.
Did you practice that one too?
Oh, good Lord. I probably messed it up. I don't know. Someone from the winery are going to have to correct me. Gravura, which is a blend, a Bordeaux-style blend, heavy on the Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and Cab Franc. And this is from 2020. So.
Okay, so while Troy pours that, let's. It looks good. Hopefully he's picked a good one. He hasn't steered us wrong yet. In all the episodes that we've done, he's been a good picker of wine. Why this winery, Troy? While you're pouring that.
We haven't had them on the show before.
Okay.
They're right down the hill from us by the Hampton Inn. There's I think 4 wineries and a pie shop down there. Or 3 wineries and a pie shop.
Yes, there's 3 of Cups down there who we've had
Yeah,
on the show.
we've had them on the show.
Yeah, okay. I haven't tried that pie place yet, have you?
I've heard it's really good.
Oh.
Yeah.
What about you, Greg? Have you been to the pie
I
place?
have not. Is that the new strip mall?
Yeah,
That's right? Or
it's been there several years now, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's new.
Directly
new.
opposite the hotel there's 4, kind of just the other side of the car park.
Yeah, so-
Sorry, parking lot. That was very English
Car
of me,
park.
wasn't it?
Car park. So, however you say the name of the winery, Avennia is the first one closest to 522. So.
Okay. And then, so why this particular wine? You're going to say because we haven't had it before?
I like Bordeaux blends, so
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Okay, well, pass
This
those
show's
glasses.
all about me, right?
It's always about you. Yeah, let's pass
Oh,
those
yep.
glasses over.
I'm hoarding them all over here.
All right, so cheers. Here's to a great episode.
Yes.
And just for anybody that's joining along, this is episode 2 of season 2 of
Yes.
TLC 10 Life Community. So thanks for joining us on this one.
Sure. Thanks
Greg.
for having me.
All right, so we're going to sample this, Greg. If you're not followed along before, we taste it and we talk about it on air. So I'll give you a chance to take a sip while I just continue nattering.
Yeah.
Troy's already had
A sip,
a little
yes.
sip. He's rolling his, if for those that are listening and not watching on YouTube, he's rolling his wine around his glass. He's checking to see if there are legs on this one.
Yes, there are some legs.
Okay.
That's good.
It feels really
Is it
weird
good?
saying,
Okay.
has it got legs
It's
on
not corked.
it? Okay.
The cork was a little dry pulling it out. So.
Oh, okay.
Are you serving steak tartare too, or just
Steak tartare?
Just wine?
Oh, that's a good idea. We've had food on the show
We
before.
have. I know. Maybe we need to make that a requirement. If you're
Yeah.
going to bring in wine for me, I need something to eat with it.
right, yeah.
Okay. All right. So you've had a chance to taste it. Greg's had a chance to taste it. So looking at the color, it has a little bit of a bricky finish on the outside of that wine.
It's a little more ruby red.
Yeah, that we've talked about before. It has some legs on it, but I wouldn't say it was super thick, and that viscosity isn't one of the thickest ones that I've seen that you've brought on the show. But I'm going to stop talking and take a taste while you describe what you're tasting. Guess first, Greg.
I mean, I'm not as well versed in. I'm not a wine connoisseur, so to speak, but it is very good. And as soon as I took a sip, I thought of steak, and
Yeah.
it feels like it would go really well with a red meat.
Yeah, it goes. I think so too. I think it'd go good with steak. It'd go good with like a really strong cheese.
Yeah.
Not Stilton, though.
Not Stilton, no. I'm not a blue cheese fan myself. I don't know about
No?
you.
What's
It's
what's
light-
Stilton?
light.
Is that a blue cheese?
It is. Stilton is, I don't know if you can get it here. It's
Yeah,
got
you
a
can.
lot of the kind of mold and veining through it.
Yeah.
Smell is something else. So
That's what I like. Is stinky cheese. So.
It smells like the hind end of something.
So yes, Stilton and Danish Blue. I don't know what the equivalents would be here, but they're very, very strong cheeses.
Yeah.
Okay, so any particular notes that you're getting out of that other than it would taste good with a steak tartare?
I'm not, but you might be.
I get like a plum, like
Oh yeah.
it's not a cherry.
No.
You know, it's a little deeper than that. So
Yeah, and it doesn't have that, I know you've used this word before, it doesn't have that kind of jammy feel on the
Right.
tongue either. So I agree, I taste a lot of plum in that. It's actually really light. I was expecting something a little heavier.
really,
Yeah, but you know, when you take that first sip and it sits on your tongue, it's not heavy. It has a little bit of dryness to it, but not overly so.
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out what else I'm tasting, but I've only had a tiny sip because you guys were, you know,
Because you're doing all the talking.
Well, you're drinking, so
I
you
know,
know.
I drank it all already.
Loosen up the vocal cords.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah. Excuse me. So, yeah, it definitely has more of the plum. I'm trying to identify what else is in there. Are you getting anything else? We do have a little map behind Greg's head of kind of
Yeah.
the
Flavors.
flavors that you could potentially taste
Sorry, you
in
have to
wine.
turn around to see it. Yeah.
Yeah, we might have to take a photo of that and put it on social media so that
Yeah.
people know what
Is
we're talking about.
Gravura listed on there?
No.
No.
Those are all the potential
Oh, what you
flavors
pick
of
up.
wine
I got you.
according to the French.
You know what's weird?
Yeah.
I also taste lemon in this.
Lemon.
Yeah,
Wow.
on the finish.
It's
I don't know. I'm just talking nonsense.
I was gonna
Greg's
say it-
pulling faces at me.
Yeah.
Troy thinks I'm nuts. It's okay.
it's a little more acidic. That might be what it is.
Okay.
On the finish, and there's it's got some heat too, so the alcohol stays for a while.
Yeah, it lingers for sure. Yeah, it's very pleasant. It's a great wine for the middle of the day,
True.
or the end of the day, or
Or the end of the day. Yeah. Out on the patio in the summertime.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
porch pounder.
Oh,
There it is.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks for opening that door for us. All right. Any other notes to add on this one? It's I like that you brought something new in that we haven't tried before.
Yeah. No, I like it.
I mean, we have plenty of options here in Woodinville. How many wineries do we have to choose
It's
from?
starting to run out though.
We can't possibly run out. There's 130 of them.
Oh. Well.
I know, we need to make
I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
and
to
figure
step out.
each winery has how many different wines? 130 times what?
Oh, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's.
That'd be a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, that's okay. We're
To
up
get
for the,
through all
we're
those
up for the
wines.
challenge, right, Troy?
Yeah. I'm always good for having a glass of wine.
Okay.
In 10 years, you guys will be here. We're on episode 4,868.
Hey,
And
that
we still
sounds
haven't
great.
tried everything because every year there's a
There's
new
a new one.
vintage.
Yeah. There's a
We've
new
moved
one.
on to bourbon at this point.
Yeah. Well, we have those options too, and breweries. We need to
Yeah.
maybe mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I like it. It's not, like I said, not too dry. It's got a really nice finish to it, and it's a very, very easy.
So yeah, I would
pleasant
encourage
wine.
our listeners to visit the tasting room, or if it's at the grocery store, pick up a bottle and give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the end of Sipping on Success. We're going to continue to enjoy this wine while we talk to Greg. But first of all, we're going to take a very quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about all things Forgotten Children's Fund. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This episode of 10 Life Community is brought to you in part by Yura Family Dentistry. Are you in the market for a new home or looking to sell your current one? 10 Home Team is here to help. As community-focused real estate agents, we are dedicated to providing personalized service and support throughout the entire process. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or a seasoned pro, we've got you covered. Let us take the stress out of your real estate journey. Contact us today at 10 Home Team and learn more about our services.
Welcome back to TLC 10 Life Community Podcast, and we are here with Greg, and he's going to tell us all about the Forgotten Children's Fund. And so, Greg, can you share with us a story behind the founding of the Forgotten Children's Fund? You know, what kind of motivated the establishment and the core mission, and how it works in the community. I've got words today, I think.
Do you? They're buried, but you've
Oh.
got them. Don't worry. By the end of the show, he'll have it
Yeah,
covered.
more wine.
More wine.
There we go.
It always helps.
So anyway, yeah, just kind of the introduce.
backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's a cool story. Way back in 1976, there was a man named Dick Francisco, who was a giant of a man. He was a Marine. He also was a boxer. You know, the Marines have a boxing team, and he also owned a restaurant down in Burien called Francisco's. It was an Italian restaurant, and a bunch of the guys that he was in the Marines and Navy with would get together and, have happy hour and tell stories and tell lies and, all kinds of stuff. And one day the mailman had received this letter that was supposed to be delivered to the North Pole, but didn't get delivered to the North Pole because he brought it to Francisco's restaurant. And the letter was written by this little boy, and we still have a blown-up copy of the letter, but it basically said, "Dear Santa, Mom said you lost your way last year, and so you weren't able to find our house. And just in case that happens again this year, just understand that no hard feelings or anything like that." And he also mentioned, you don't need to bring anything for Dad because Dad's not here anymore. It was a really, really tear-jerking letter. And so when the mailman brought it over to Dick's restaurant, the guys were sitting around and they thought, you know what? If there's one kid like this in the greater Seattle area, there's got to be hundreds. Mm-hmm. And so they decided to do something about it, and they started. It didn't have a name yet, but they started delivering Christmas to families that otherwise couldn't afford it.
That's cool.
And so if Santa Claus couldn't find your house, Dick Francisco would find your house, and Don Rawl would find your house, and Buzz Larson would find your house, and Dick Nord would find your house. And these are all guys that have been a part of the Forgotten Children's Fund since its inception, but that's how it started, and it's grown into a pretty decent-sized organization. We've kept it tight within the Puget Sound area, but that's how it got its start, way back in 1976.
Wow, that's impressive. And
That's cool.
tear-jerking.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's so sad thinking of any kid without a holiday, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. But
Lots of need out there for sure.
There is lots of need
that's
out
cool.
there. Yeah. So the concept of bringing joy to kids during the holiday. I mean, it's heartwarming. There's no denying that, and a little sad as well.
Yeah.
That we're still, even in this this day and age, in the position where people have to ask for help, and that there's this need, especially for children. But can you paint a picture of us? For us and our listeners who don't know anything about the Forgotten Children's Fund, about what the typical Christmas season looks like for you guys. Now, I know this episode is going to be released in April, and it probably seems a little weird talking about the coming holiday season now, but there's a reason for that, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit more. But if you can kind of paint a picture of the initial stages, the magic delivery, and just all of what goes into this.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, we're a year-round charity, and obviously activity really ramps up kind of October, November, December, really December. Uh-huh. But we fundraise year-round. We go around the community year-round. We can't just raise money one part of the year and hope to reach our goals. And so we do some outreach. I'll get into it a little bit more later, but we do have a summer program too. But it's a year-round operation, and that all leads up to, I believe that we're the only charity in at least the Puget Sound area that gives a full Santa Claus Christmas. So
wow.
By that I mean we have a team of anywhere from 30 to 40 Santa Clauses that actually go into your home or go into these families' homes and sit down with the family from anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes, depending on the occasion. And so we do family pictures. There's a Santa bag, so each member of the family gets to open one present at that time, and then we put a whole bunch more under the tree or in the corner if they don't have a tree to open later that night or on Christmas morning, however they want to do it.
Wow.
But it's cool because Santa has a team of anywhere from 3 to 5 elves, and they're all dressed up like elves. Some of them pull out the Buddy the Elf costume, but some of them just wear different kind of elf gear. But it's a really amazing experience, and obviously our goal is to put smiles on people's faces, but the added side effect is it puts smiles on our face too, and it feels really good to, anytime you see a kid laughing that otherwise might not be during that time of year, it's a really, really cool experience, very rewarding.
Right, so you're fundraising year round, so if anybody's listening to this and they're thinking, well, I can put that off till, really you need people to start thinking about this time of year, even months ago, really. As soon as the holidays are finished, I'm sure you guys are ramping up thinking about, okay, what do we need to do for the next coming season for giving to those families that are in need?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously we go through a lot of toys, but we also provide bicycles for any family that requests one. But also little things like gift wrap and ribbon and that sort of stuff, we have a team of shoppers that watch for sales. And so
That sounds
anytime
like
they
fun.
find a sale, they buy something. You know, whether it's gift wrap or a bicycle. We have a place where we can store them. And so when we see something go on sale, we buy it. And so we have to have funds available year round to do
Right.
that sort of thing. And God bless those people that are watching for that. You know, if they go into Costco, every once in a while you'll see, you know, they just have like 20 blankets left, and so they mark them down to $4.
Right.
Our shopper will buy those 20 blankets
That's cool.
if they run into them. So
That's-
things like that happen all year round. And
So, as a local business or just an individual, how can they get involved? What are the needs? You know, what?
yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, money's great
Yeah. Cash.
because we have lots of expenses, and in the last couple of years, like gift wrap has doubled, ribbon has doubled. We spent a lot more just on supplies than we normally do this time of year. But even things like bicycles, like everything's more expensive. And one of the things that we've learned in the last 2 years is, and actually probably the last 3 years, stores don't carry as much inventory, so they run out of bicycles very quickly, and so we haven't reached our goal on bicycles in the last couple of years, and so we never like to say no,
Right.
and so we're trying to get better at doing year-round type activity for those sort of things, so that we can procure those earlier. As far as what a small business can do, you know, certainly any kind of a donation, whether it's money or whatever, but any kind of a toy drive is great. If it's a really small business and you just want to donate a bicycle, that's awesome. Like we
Gotcha.
and they don't have to be, we prefer that things are brand new, but like a bicycle, we have bicycle mechanics that donate their time in December, and they will refurbish any kind of bicycle. And so it's an opportunity for a small business to really make a big impact by putting a smile on someone's face.
Something
cool.
you don't think about, you know, making a cash donation is easy, but it sounds like for you guys, purposely going out and looking for bikes and things like that, and you're just grabbing one, or if you can afford two, and, you know, contacting you guys and saying, I've got a couple, come and pick them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even in my mind, I mean, I don't want to plug another charity, but everyone knows what Toys for Tots is.
Sure.
And a company like sponsor Forgotten Children's Fund and have people bring in toys or cash donations.
Absolutely.
as
Yeah, we
part
have-
of one of their events or something.
If you know Securite,
Yeah.
down in Woodinville, John does a big toy drive every year.
Okay.
And same sort of thing, you know, when a customer comes in to visit his establishment, if they bring a toy with them, you know, they get a special deal, or maybe they don't. Maybe they're just doing it out of the kindness of their heart. But any kind of a toy drive is
That's a great way to
super
partner
appreciated.
with businesses for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like that.
I love what John does. He's always thinking about the community that he's involved in.
Yeah. It's amazing how many. I mean, he does one of the bigger toy drives that we have.
Okay, good. Cool.
We're one of the benefactors of the Les Schwab toy drive too. I think Toys for Tots is also, but that's a big production when they come down in their blue and white trucks, and all the guys are in their uniforms and everything, and they deliver the presents on one or the toys on one special day.
That's cool.
Okay.
It's really, really cool. So
Yeah.
we're very lucky to be partners
That you partner with them, yeah.
So, I mean, every organisation faces its own set of challenges. So what are some of the main obstacles that your fund has encountered in its mission, and how does the organisation adapt to overcome these challenges? You talked about the cost of things are rising, but there must be other challenges that you've faced, especially, you know, we're not going to mention that thing that happened years ago. But, you know...
We're pivoting from mentioning
Yeah,
that.
we're not. But,
Thank you.
you know, so what are some of those challenges that you guys have overcome? And on the flip side, what opportunities do you see the fund to expand the impact of what you do in the future?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The challenges that we face, obviously, I mentioned it earlier, just the cost of everything is rising. Every year, so we don't own much. So every year we get a warehouse donated to us. That
Okay.
We usually take possession November 25th-ish, like right around Thanksgiving, and we keep it through December 26th. If you've heard of Prologis, they've been amazing. So the last 3 years we've gotten a warehouse from Prologis, and this year we actually had our choice. She said, you can have 42,000 square feet, you can have 63,000
Oh, wow.
square feet.
That is a lot.
You know,
Wow.
and 60 is about the right number for us.
Is it
because
really?
When you build all the bikes out and stuff like that, they take up a lot of space. But So that challenge has kind of gone away as that partnership has flourished. And thank you to Prologis for, it turns out they're the biggest warehouse owner in the world. And if you drive down to Kent Auburn, you'll see Prologis signs everywhere.
I have never heard of them before. Now I'm going to
I hadn't either.
have to look for them.
And now you'll see them everywhere.
Okay.
But so they've been a blessing. The challenge that we've had, especially last year, is trucks. Because every team of Santa and his elves has a box truck.
Okay.
And that's where we put all the toys, and they're all organized and, numbered bags and everything like that. But again, we don't own any trucks. We get the trucks donated to us by...
Well, I can help with that.
Yeah, actually, when I pulled into the parking lot, I'm like, oh, Troy's got a truck.
I know,
I
we
had
have
no
a truck.
idea. Yeah, and I would
Yeah.
Well, I'll be
definitely-
calling.
Yes.
So we have a gal that does our logistics, and she's the one that procures all the trucks. The joke this year was we actually had one truck that said Bud Light on the side. So
Oh, no.
that was kind of funny. But, a truck's a truck, and we are able to rent them if we absolutely have to. But obviously that's money that goes away from our core mission. So, and then Microsoft has been extremely generous. Their campus vans that they have, they're
Yeah.
like airporter vans.
Yeah.
They provide transportation for Santa and the elves.
Excuse me.
Oh, okay.
So that the box truck can be on its own and so then there's 2 vehicles going out to these people's homes. But to answer the question, certainly just funding is obviously a very big challenge. Within that, everybody likes to donate toys for little kids,
Right.
like under the age of 7, because those toys are fun and they're cute and they're wood puzzles and stuff
Sure.
like that. Where we tend to run shorter for the bigger kids, from like
Okay.
9 to 16. For teenagers, generally speaking, we give them gift cards to
Okay.
like either Amazon or Fred Meyer or something that has a wide range of items. But we almost always run short on bikes and toys for those older kids. And so it's hard to direct a toy drive, but if we were to direct a toy drive, that's what we would probably ask for.
I
is
think
stuff
direct
for
the
older.
toy drive and ask for what you
Yeah.
want. If people are going to give their, going to be generous and, I'm sure they want to give you exactly what you need rather than things that are still helpful and thoughtful. But, if you need bikes for a different age group, then
Sure.
I think tell us what that is.
Yep.
So leading on from that, then I'm going to ask that question. So you said you fell short on bikes last year and maybe years before. How many is kind of a good number of bikes?
Yeah, it's usually we usually can get rid of about 500.
Wow.
We get a lot of requests for bicycles.
Really?
We try to keep it at 1 per family. A lot of times they don't have space for more than 1 bicycle anyway, but in the last couple of years we've been around 250 to 300.
Okay.
So still, that's better than 0. But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
we, like I said earlier, we don't like to say no or we don't have one. But so we're going to do our best this year to make sure we hit that number so that anyone who asks for one can get one.
Okay, so you said not always the little kids. What's the size of bikes? I know they go by wheel dimension, I think, usually, but tell our listeners what size bikes you need.
Yeah, the bigger ones, so like 20 centimeters and up, is probably, or 20 inch, I mean, are probably the goal. I think they would go up to like a 26 or something like that for kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're definitely harder to come by. And like I said, the big retailers like Walmart and Fred Meyer, they just don't carry as many as they used to.
No.
Yeah.
We're trying to get into the wholesale angle. We have some connections with Costco.
Okay.
So they've introduced us to some vendors that actually make and sell the bicycles. And so we're hoping to get a little bit higher up on their list. And not for them to donate them necessarily, because we'll buy them.
But just have access
Right,
to
but
them.
just-
But to have access.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been tough.
Yeah, because if it's not in stores, then you don't have access to them either unless you have a connection with
Right.
somebody that can do direct to, right?
Right.
I'm
Okay.
just thinking back when I got bikes for my kids. I ordered them from Amazon, actually,
Yeah.
because we couldn't find anything locally. So
Yeah.
I understand.
It is nice having them in our backyard. So
Yeah.
if anyone has a connection with the Amazon bike buyer,
Okay.
There we go.
Anybody listening, if you
Let's-
have a connection with the bike buyer,
Let's connect.
and if the Amazon bike buyer is listening, we're going to track you down. So.
yeah. That's not a threat.
Little one. All right, so volunteer involvement. Many people in the community like to volunteer. Are there any opportunities for that? Or
Absolutely.
yeah,
So every year, the really, really fun part is the donated warehouse becomes the North Pole. We call it the North Pole. We've got all sorts of decorations and signs and, of course, music. We have one individual that runs our North Pole. Her name's Debbie, and she's amazing. She's down there 5 days a week for over a month, and dedicates her life to making sure that everything goes smoothly down there, which this year it actually did go pretty smoothly. Usually there's some hiccups and stuff, but this year it went great. But so we, on our website, you can sign up on a calendar to come down, whether by yourself or you can bring a group. So if it's a small business that wants to do a company party or something like that, you can
Team
come down
building.
and wrap. And the best part about it is you're not just wrapping random presents. You get a list. So you get your family, and you see their names, you see
Oh,
what their
that's
hobbies
cool.
are. There's little notes on each child, and
Yeah.
you literally take a trolley,
Thank
a
you.
shopping cart, over to the tables, and the toys are all organized by age and gender, and so you can literally go shopping for each individual child, and then when you wrap the present, you get to write their name on it, and then of course
It's
says
way more meaningful for
from
sure.
Santa.
Yeah, that's cool.
So then, every once in a while when you go out as Santa Claus or something, your elves that are on your team may have wrapped one of the families that you're actually visiting that day, and that's really, really cool. So those are great volunteer opportunities, certainly
Okay.
coming down to the North Pole. That's probably the most popular one. We always need help loading trucks on like Christmas Eve. We always need help cleaning up on the day after Christmas, but wrapping's the big thing because that's a time crunch situation where
Yeah.
you got to be done by the 23rd, otherwise we're in trouble.
And you go out and visit all these families on those few days.
Yep. Almost everybody gets served on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
If for some reason we miss somebody, like we call them about 15 minutes before we're going to arrive at their house, and they know roughly when we're going to be there. But if for some reason something happens and they're not there, we do have 2 Santa Clauses at least that go out on Christmas Day. And,
Wow. That's great.
Again, they're a blessing because to give up their Christmas Day to serve the community is really awesome. And then there's some women's shelters and Ronald McDonald House that will serve on like December 22nd or whatever's convenient for them.
Right.
But generally speaking, most of the families are on Christmas Eve.
That's just amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, the amount of work that goes into that too, but I can imagine the fulfillment from that for everybody involved is just immense.
Yeah. Well, and then the creme de la creme is being an elf. Well, it's
Now,
really.
are you an elf or a
But-
Santa?
So
I've seen
I
you-
started as an elf and then I got promoted. So I was an elf for my dad. So
Okay.
for us, it's a family. So my uncle Dennis, the guy that says Bakke,
Bakke.
he's our truck driver. His wife is the navigator.
Okay.
We probably need a new navigator. She's the world's greatest elf, but not a great navigator.
She's directionally challenged.
Yeah. But so when our dad
I've got
was,
one of those at home too.
yeah,
I'll put my hands up, that's me.
when our dad was Santa, my brothers and I have 2 older brothers, we were his elves, and
Okay.
then niece and nephew would be elves too. And after our dad passed, then the torch passed on to us to be Santa Claus, and so I've kind of taken that mantle, and we've kept it in all Bakke, where my wife is an elf. I have 2 cousins that are elves. Again, my aunt and uncle are the truck driver and navigator, and then my son just turned 16, so he can start to be an elf
Oh.
too, which will be
Oh, nice.
really cool to get him
Okay.
involved too. So
That's great. So people can sign up and they can help wrap. They can do all of those things. Can they sign up to be an elf? Can
Yeah.
they sign up to be a Santa?
yeah, so you can when you come down to wrap at the North Pole, because we do ask that if you want to be an elf, that's kind of a big deal. So it's great if you participate at the North Pole too.
beforehand, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, you get the gist of what it's like to be an elf and that sort of thing. We're always looking for more Santa Clauses. Our Santas are kind of
I
getting
was kind
older.
of, to be honest, I was kind of surprised you were Santa Claus because you're a young guy.
Well, so
Young guys can be Santa Claus.
believe it or not, I've been a Santa for 15 years now. So this all used to be dark. But yeah, it's Santa's not about your age because you're
Yeah.
wearing
A costume,
an outfit
yeah,
and everything. But it's about a mentality, and
Yeah.
so
Gotcha.
not everyone can be Santa Claus, but it's a real cool deal to be able to be. Every guy wants to be the center of attention once in a while, and so when you're Santa Claus, you're definitely the center of attention.
Yeah.
But you also get firsthand to see those smiles on the kids' faces, and lots of our Santa Clauses are professional, like they're mall Santas
Oh.
also, and so they have the really awesome year-round white beard. In fact, quick story, every year we have a Santa dinner at the start of December to just kind
I
of
bet that's fun.
say thank you to all the guys
Yeah.
for all the work that they're doing and all the volunteering that they're doing. And the last 2 years, Anthony's down on the waterfront has donated the dinner. We used to have
Oh,
to pay.
that's-
We used
that's
to
great.
pay for it, but now they're donating everything, and it's not just a buffet. They let us eat off the menu, but when we walk in, it's pretty awesome because half of our guys have the legitimate white beards, and so all the other people in the restaurant are like, what the heck's going on back there? But so our head Santa is named David Harry. He lives over in Echo Falls. He'll get up and give a little talk and just go over logistics of what Christmas Eve is going to be like and what the expectations are. And obviously these guys have been Santa, most of them have been Santas for a long time, so they know. But it's a really cool deal.
Do you have any Mrs. Claus tag along?
So a couple of the guys do. Like I said, my wife is an elf, but I'm like, how come she's not Mrs. Claus? This is a super opportunity for her to wear a different outfit, but maybe next year we'll see.
Okay.
So
Adding to the crew.
yeah,
Yeah, well, why not? It just
Yeah.
gives another dimension to
she
it,
kind of
right?
has an elf personality, so
Oh.
I'm not sure she could bridge to Mrs. Claus, but we'll see.
But you say elf, and I all automatically go to Buddy.
I know. The yellow tights,
Yeah.
the green, yeah.
Well, so the best elves have the buddy personality.
Do they? Yeah,
and,
yeah.
And I will say, my Aunt Janice, she is that.
She's Buddy.
She's she's a preschool teacher.
Okay.
So
Okay.
she has an
She gets
amazing
kids.
connection with
Yeah.
kids, and
Yeah.
she's the one that if a kid kind of strays off to the side, she'll go
Grab them.
Bring them back
grab
in.
them and bring
to
them
the
back
fold.
in and
That's
sit
great.
down with them for a minute. It's a really cool deal.
Well, as we kind of carry on the conversation, gift giving is the central aspect of the mission for the Children's Fund, but I imagine that the impact extends far beyond the material presence. And so, how do you see the gifts and the experiences provided by the Forgotten Children's Fund impacting the lives of those children? I mean, you must see it yearly, not just the children, but the families that are involved with this as well. And are there any stories or testimonials that particularly stand out for you, especially as you've been doing this for quite some time?
Yeah, for sure. Our most rewarding time is during the month of December. Almost every year, a family will show up to wrap who we have helped in the past.
Oh.
Oh, that's nice.
And we try to help families that aren't being helped by other charities, and so we have a whole screening process. And so we try to give just a hand up to a working family who might have, maybe there's a medical issue or
Right.
a legal issue or something like that where they've just been a little bit down on their luck. And so we try to give them a hand up. And so almost every year someone will walk into the North Pole and say, hey, I just wanted to say thank you because I was really going through a rough time that year, and so I would like to give back this year. And by far that's the most rewarding because then you're really seeing that you made an
Yeah.
impact. And
Yeah.
One other, so the Washington Athletic Club downtown, they have the 101 Club, and they do a big fundraiser for us every year. The 101 Club is a smaller club within the Washington Athletic Club. The president of the 101 Club 2 years ago, which 101 Club is generally speaking pretty affluent families and stuff. He got up and told a story about, he was down in Los Angeles, so it wasn't our charity, but his family was served by a similar charity.
Oh.
And look at him now. I mean, it was, and so when you hear things like that, you just know that you're making an impact, and certainly not with everybody, but with enough families that it does definitely make a big difference.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
giving
so-
people hope.
Yeah, and you can never judge because you never know what someone's going through.
I'm glad you mentioned the word judge because usually when I'm Santa Claus, I'm down in kind of the Renton, Kent, Auburn area. But this year my route was Issaquah,
Really?
and
It's interesting. You don't think of same as you don't think of families potentially in Woodinville and places like Sammamish and Issaquah
There's
being
need.
in need, but
Yeah.
but there is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 2 years ago I had Woodinville and Duval area, and same thing. And we were in the Issaquah Highlands, up by that whole new development up
Yeah.
there. But you walk into those homes and there you could tell right away there's absolutely a need. And holy smokes, how is this happening in Issaquah? But you just never know what people are going through. It could happen to any of us. And so that's why we're there to help these people and just put a smile on their face at least for a week, 24 hours
Yeah.
to a week, and hopefully that
Just bring
carries
some
on through.
enjoyable and lighten the load a little bit and just take some of that pressure off that they can feel some normality potentially.
Yeah, for sure. And then you also mentioned beyond the gifts. There is a kind of beyond Forgotten Children's Fund part of what we do. We take pretty vague but notes on each family in case there's a special need or something like that. Because we routinely walk into places where there's no power or there's no heat. Or
Right.
I remember walking into at least 2 homes where there was no furniture. And so I, as Santa Claus, am walking in. You want to sit down and have the kid
Right.
on your lap and open presents and stuff, but there was no place to sit down. And so I was thinking to myself, why are we giving them toys? They don't have a place to have dinner as a
Yeah.
family. And so we have a program now where after Christmas, if they require an extra little bit of help, we have funds that we can dedicate to turning their heat on, you know, paying bills or buying them a kitchen table, buying them a chair, you know, something like that, or a bed, to kind of get the ball rolling for the rest of their life. And so that's part of our program that doesn't get a lot of publicity because the toys get a lot of publicity, but it's near and dear to my heart because I'm not a huge fan of the material stuff, and obviously kids love toys, but kids love heat.
Yeah.
You know,
And
kids
food.
kids want food. Kids want to sit with their family and
Yeah.
have a nice dinner, and it's a very important part of
I think
life.
that's maybe one of the things that makes your guys' fund unique is that you're actually going into people's homes, which I think a lot of these organisations, they help out in a great way and in a big way, but they don't necessarily see
Right,
inside
everyone's
the
coming to them.
actual. Yeah, they're coming to the organisation, whereas you're stepping foot into people's sanctuaries and people's homes. So, I mean, that's a big thing. One, them giving you permission to be in that space and seeing the vulnerability, but then you're taking that and you're not just giving them toys. You're seeing what else can we do? What other need do they have? And I think that's really special.
Yeah, we bring a box of food too. We used to do a huge box of food, but now we've tapered that back a little bit, and we provide a gift card
Yeah.
because maybe they don't need food, maybe they need diapers, you know, that sort of thing. And so we'll give them a little bit of food to kind of get them through Christmas, and then a gift card also to address whatever family needs that they have. And I'll tell you, I like I said a dozen times probably, I love seeing the kids smile.
Yeah.
But one of the most rewarding parts is when the parent gives Santa a hug before you leave, and there's always a whispered thank you.
Yeah.
And that's really
There's got to
cool.
be lots of Kleenex. Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm sitting here thinking.
That's tough.
I'm a pretty stoic person. I'm sitting here like.
You mentioned vulnerability. Like, you have to be super vulnerable to
Yeah.
apply for help like this, and
Yeah.
then have people come into your home and see what your home looks like. And
Exactly.
it's really cool. And I have not encountered a family that wasn't super appreciative and always whisper a thank you. And
Yeah.
it's really cool. And on Christmas Eve, we're not from Forgotten Children's Fund. We're from the North Pole.
Yeah.
And so we're,
With Buddy the Elf.
We,
and
you know-
do you have a narwhal?
yeah, stay in character. And, but it's hard. And, I'm behind glasses and a beard and a wig and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, I can hide emotion a little bit better, but it's
Wow.
tough.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really tough.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's. But what a great thing you guys are doing.
There was a family 2 years ago, I remember it was a Russian family down in Kent, and only one person in the family spoke any English, and he was
Wow.
eight years old.
Yeah.
And so the mom was having me speak through him, and then he was relaying messages back to me, and I was just thinking, what an incredible kid that he can, comprehend this and relay it to Santa Claus,
Yeah.
because I believe he believed I was Santa Claus, and it was it was just a really cool, there's so many special families out there that just might be down on their luck, and
Yeah.
so it's really cool to be able to help them.
Yeah, I think you guys are an amazing organisation. When I
Thank
met
you.
you at the Chamber of Commerce, I know that the Chamber of Commerce has done fundraising for you guys at their, is it the breakfast at the fire station?
Winterfest.
The Winterfest, yeah.
Winterfest, yeah.
And so when I had an opportunity to meet with you one-to-one and talk about this, I was like, you know what? This guy needs to come on the show. We need to talk about
We
getting
need to
them
get the word
bikes.
out, yeah.
We need to get, yeah. So I just amazing. It just really warms my heart. So, yeah.
Well, that's cool. Our organization's full of great people, and obviously I get to be here with you guys, but it could have been any one of 100 people that came and talked to you guys. But
Cool.
we're surrounded by really awesome people, and the city of Woodinville has been great. Part of how that all got started was my dad was an agent at the Windermere that now Keith Wells runs.
Yeah.
But
We don't mention Windermere on this.
yeah, sorry.
Yes, we do. It's fine.
Just kidding.
It's all community.
I used to be Santa for their office party.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
And then they
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
you really should, would you be willing to do the tree lighting? And I'm like, tree lighting? What's that all about? Well, you get to go up there with the mayor and actually
Plug
put the
it in.
extension cord together and plug it in. And I was like, I'm in. Let's do it. And so now
That's
we're,
awesome you
you
volunteered
mentioned,
for that.
yeah, you mentioned Winterfest. We're the benefactor of the 5K. So the registration money that comes in for
Yeah.
the 5K, they donate that to Forgotten Children's, which
Oh.
is really awesome. Yeah. So shout
That's
out
awesome.
to Kimberly
Yeah.
Ellertson.
I know that's
Yeah.
a ways off, but keep thinking about it. You can
Yeah.
sign up, and that's more money in the pockets of
We
the Forgotten
we
Children's
always
Fund.
sponsor that event. So
Yeah. Maybe you'll run it this year.
Everyone always asks, "Are you going to run it in your Santa suit?" I'm like,
No.
I get hot just sitting in a Santa suit.
Yeah,
let
yeah, yeah.
alone- Let
I
alone
can't
running.
even
Yeah.
imagine.
It's brutal.
Yes.
So, well, as we look towards the future, are there any sort of new initiatives or anything that are going on?
Yeah, I mean, we want to expand our after. We don't even really have a name for it, but like the aftercare program, we
Yeah.
want to expand that because as the economy has shifted over the last couple of years and things have gotten more expensive for us, they've gotten more expensive for everybody, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
just affording things like filling your gas tank and stuff to get
sure.
to work. So I want to expand that because we've had opportunities to grow our geography,
Wow.
but we want to stay tight. We want to stay Puget Sound.
Right.
We used to have go over to Chelan
Okay.
and serve some families over there, but we've really tried to concentrate on keeping it here and just getting better at what we're doing here.
Makes sense.
I've had people reach out like out of Southern California and Texas, Tri-Cities. We'll speak with those people and kind of give them our model, but we don't want it to be where we're dividing our resources and going down there. We want to keep it here because there's enough need here.
Yeah.
If you recall plus we like to stay nimble, and a good example is if you recall the flooding, I think it was 3 years ago up in Nooksack Valley, like the Oso area and
Oh, yeah,
north
yeah,
of Bellingham.
Mm-hmm.
They approached us proactively and said, is there any way, because everyone's homes got destroyed, and they said, is there any way you guys can help us? And Dick Nord, who was kind of one of our founding members, he was good friends with Dick Francisco and a fellow Marine. He lives up in LaConner, and so almost every day he was coming down to the North Pole in his truck and shuttling toys all the way up
Oh,
to
wow.
past Bellingham. And we ended up serving 200 extra families that year.
Jeez. Wow.
And, if we expanded into different parts of the state or something like that, we wouldn't be able to probably do that. And so
Right.
we like to be able to stay nimble just in case something
Right.
happens.
Yeah. No, I like that. I had another question there. Well, I guess we've talked a lot about people apply to you. How do they apply to you to get help for their families and for their kids?
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously we have a website, forgottenchildrensfund.org. You can log into that and apply online.
Okay.
Sometimes families get referred to us by a school counselor,
Okay.
a pastor, maybe another family, sometimes even a parole officer. You just never know. But so sometimes they get referred to us. We have a team of screeners who are the true unsung heroes of our organization. I think there's 6 of them. And they will interview the family at least twice and just kind of get the lay of the land as to what's going on and the level of need and that sort of thing. Because we can't serve everybody.
Yeah.
And so we try to serve as many as we can. But there is a screening process. And so it sounds terrible, but families have to be picked. But so you do apply online and then go through the screening process.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
as
sure
a-
you would help. Sorry, Troy. I was going to say, I'm sure you'd help as many people as you can, but you only have limited resources, so it's got to go to those people that really need.
Right. We kind of accidentally served more families than ever before this year. We ended up with
That's great.
752 families. So,
Wow.
but we had enough Santas. We ended up having enough trucks. So it ended up
That's
to be
cool.
a good year.
I was just going to say, as a donor, it's important that the resources get used properly. So
Yeah. I think at the end, maybe we'll ask you for give us a quick kind of rundown of the list of needs. So at the end of the show, when we plug your your website address and where people can contact you, maybe while we're talking, you can think about, okay, what's the biggest need you have right now where our listeners can help, or if they know somebody, they can talk somebody into donating a bunch of bikes or whatever that is.
Yeah.
you
or if they have an
list of-
event coming up, piggyback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, because I think it's yes, this show's going out in April, but let's start now.
Yeah.
Let's
Christmas in April.
exactly. Isn't usually Christmas in July, but we're bringing
It feels like Christmas. I don't know.
Everything's early this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, you got one more fun question?
I
before we dig
do. I
into-
do. Yeah, we'll wrap things up here. But finally, we like to ask a question for, just Woodinville people if there is any hidden gems or places around the community that you enjoy that you'd like to share with everybody.
Yeah, so I'm a Snoqualmie Valley guy, so I live out in Monroe,
Okay.
kind of between Monroe and Duval.
It's Greater Woodinville.
Greater Woodinville. Well, so I grew up in Juanita, so
Okay.
if you would have told me 30 years ago that I'd be living in Monroe, I would have said you were crazy. Because back then it was like, you might as well live in Spokane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will. So Amarillo Barbecue in Duval. They
Okay.
had a,
Ooh, that
Yeah.
sounds
Close.
intriguing.
Yeah.
it's awesome. They had a place in Monroe first, and that
Okay.
we were somewhat regulars there. Didn't get their lease renewed. It was funny because they actually were going to open a second restaurant in Duval,
Okay.
but then their Monroe lease didn't get renewed, and so they just went all in on Duval.
Okay.
And it's a really, really awesome spot, and their service is incredible. They do catering,
Okay.
so they're awesome. And then for more of a family activity, another place where we're regulars, and if you haven't been there, the Snohomish Valley Golf Center up in Snohomish. So
Oh, is that out in the valley?
yeah.
Yeah.
As
Is
you
this
go
the one where
north-
you can get drinks and food brought
Yes.
to you while you? We've heard about this one.
Yeah.
Funny enough, we were talking about
My daughter's been there.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Really?
They have a food truck, and their
Uh-huh.
food is awesome. They have heated bays where you can hit golf balls.
Okay.
I don't know how to use it, but they have the new Top Golf like tracer
Oh,
thingies.
the tracer thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and so you can turn it into a competition if you want. But then they also have a putt-putt course. They have a big tent where in the wintertime they actually have ice skating.
Really?
Oh.
I learned it's not real ice.
Oh. Okay. Is it the fiberglass stuff?
It's the fiberglass stuff,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it looks like ice.
As long as it's not as cold like ice, it sounds like a winner to me.
Yeah, it's totally fun. And then they actually added an area with turf that is a play area. So they have
Okay.
the big size Jenga and cornhole,
Oh.
and they've got, I don't know, like 10 fire pits now, and so you can stay warm on a cold night. And so
Wow.
we actually were just there last
That's
Friday.
the second time someone's brought
I
it up.
know.
Who was?
It's fun.
I don't remember who it was actually.
Was it Jake Wittenberg?
No, it wasn't. I think it. I'll have to think. I'll noodle on that
Okay.
one.
Anyway,
it will
but
come
yeah.
to me. But yeah, we were just talking about that at my
People
house
gotta
the other
go.
day. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That
Okay.
we need to go.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
perfect.
Amarillo Barbecue and Snohomish Valley Golf Center. I'm
There
telling
you go.
It's good.
Okay, I'm
Those
really
are ones
intrigued
that
by
I-
the Amarillo barbecue. I'm like, that sounds so good, especially with this wine.
I know, right?
Plenty of houses out in Duval too now. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just
They're
out there
going nuts.
actually two days ago, so I
Well,
drove
you
right by.
could, if the weather was better, you could jump on your bike and ride over
Sure,
to Duval
sure.
on
There
the
you go.
trail.
Yeah. There
you go.
Absolutely. All right. Well, this has been fantastic. Like I said, after
Thanks, Greg.
we'll get your website address and a few more details from you at the end of the show. But for right now, we're going to take a really quick break, and when we come back, we're going to do our real estate roundup with Troy, and he's going to find out what question I have for him this week.
Oh my gosh.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Smile brighter with Ura Family Dentistry, where top-notch dental care meets a touch of tranquility. Dr. Snea Ura brings a whole new vibe to the dentist chair. Think calming blankets, personalized music, and serene ambiance that turns every visit into a soothing retreat. At Ura Family Dentistry, we are all about your comfort and care. We'll not only give you the brightest smile, but make you feel relaxed and informed every step of the way. Experience dentistry like never before. Ura Family Dentistry. Visit in Woodinville today, because a healthy smile should feel as good as it looks. Give us a call, 206-703-3993, or urafamilydentistry.com, where your smile is our masterpiece.
Welcome back to TLC, 10 Life Community Podcast. We have been having a wonderful conversation with Greg from the Forgotten Children's Fund. I mean, we could just dig in for hours really on everything that you do. And we're going to come back to a couple of things very shortly. But first off, I'm going to ask Troy his real estate roundup question of the week. We're going to keep it brief. This is a teaser, and we're going to dig into it in more detail on the next episode. But let's
hook 'em, huh?
Yeah, I'm hooking them in.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's a phrase that I've heard bandied around once in a while, and I'm not really sure what it means. So let's talk about reverse mortgages. My understanding as a non-real estate person, I do marketing. I know more than I think I do, but so reverse mortgages, the idea behind that is somebody who is kind of later years in life maybe needs some additional income, and so they're finding a way to subsidize their income by a reverse mortgage. So I'm not saying that's actually right. Troy is going to tell me what a reverse mortgage is.
Yeah, so when most people think about a reverse mortgage, they've maybe heard about it in the past, and it's not what it was even 10 years ago. I mean, it's not for the, stereotypical widow that's living from Social Security check to Social Security check that can't afford the taxes on a property anymore.
Okay.
I used to hear stories like that all the time, which is terrible. But so it's not for people. I mean, it is for people like that, but it's way more than that. I mean, I just went to a seminar on it, and it's like, wow, my mind kind of got blown. It's for, if your houses are expensive around here, right? So
Yeah.
you own your house and it's too big or whatever, or even it's too small and you want a bigger one, you can take the equity, say you own it free and clear, and you can use that to buy a new property and not have a mortgage payment.
Consider my mind blown.
Yeah, so you can move
I'd
up.
like to not have a mortgage payment.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm thinking, how can I do that? Oh, yeah, I'm not old enough yet.
Okay. All right. I feel like that this is a really in-depth conversation. I know
There's a lot of nuances, but yeah, I mean, the first thing to know is you have to be 62 or older to do it,
I'm making notes.
and you've got to have some equity in your house. But we'll dive into the nuances next episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that. For the teaser, we're going to dig into reverse mortgages in more detail in episode 3 of this podcast, season 2. But before we close out the show, let's hand it back over to Greg and just talk about a couple of other things that we were kind of discussing during the break there. First of all, tell people where they can sign up to get help, where they can sign up to volunteer. And then you mentioned another program that is very near and dear to your heart, still under the Forgotten Children's Fund, but one that people probably don't know anything about.
Yeah, so our website is great. It's forgottenchildrensfund.org. The only part that's not great about the website is how long the domain name is. It is a pretty long domain name, but you'll see
easy to remember.
Yes.
you'll see a Get Involved tab. There's a What We Do tab. There's a How to Apply for Help tab. And so it's a catch-all. And so you can learn all about our organization and see all kinds of cool pictures and stuff and kind of get the lay of the land of what we do. We also have a tab on there for Embarcy Ranch. That is a horse ranch up on Whidbey Island that was donated to us years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so when I mentioned that we're a year-round charity, we're not just year-round in terms of buying blankets and jackets and bicycles, but
Yeah.
we also run summer programs up at the ranch. So
Oh, wow.
we bring all kinds of groups of kids up there. As I mentioned, we have a Down syndrome group that comes up and joins us every year. We have an autistic group that comes up every year. Children's Hospital brings different departments up. I know their oncology department and their arthritis department. They both come up and bring patients with them. But we also have 4-H groups. The local Lions Club meets at our ranch. And it's a really, really, really cool place. We have a make-believe cowboy town that has a jail,
Really?
a post office,
Oh,
a
wow.
hotel, a barber
Field
shop.
trip.
Yeah, a train station.
I love Whidbey Island.
Yeah, and there's it's 50 acres. It's got a little peekaboo view of the water. But there's a schoolhouse that was donated to us that's fairly new. So we do all kinds of art projects and stuff in there. There's an activity barn where we now call it the Don Rawl Schoolhouse after Don Rawl was one of our founders. Or I'm sorry, Don Rawl Pavilion, and that's where we serve lunch. So
Okay.
we have a teepee. We have a church, a little mini church like you see on Highway 2.
Really?
There's one of those Revolutionary War era type log towers that it's like a lookout tower.
Okay.
But most importantly, we have anywhere from 10 to 20 horses at a time. And so we bring kids up and they get to forget about whatever's going on in their life, whether it's a disease or hardship or maybe just life. And they get to come up and spend a day of Western fun, and we feed them. It doesn't cost anything. We donate our time and resources to them. Most groups will leave a donation, of course. But it's incredible, and we have a whole different team of volunteers up there. That
Wow. So more ways for people to get involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we always need help up there because anyone
Not
who
just
has
at Christmas.
yeah, you can come up and mow the lawn or pull weeds or paint or help out with the program, any of those sort of things. So it's a trip because it is on Whidbey, but it's very, very, very much worth your time and near and dear to my heart. So.
Cool.
Well, it sounds like it's all worthwhile for
Yeah.
everybody. So I did ask you this kind of at the end of the last segment of what's your list of high priority list of needs that anybody that's listening, we really, really encourage you to donate financially or with bikes. But what else? What's your list of these are the things we really, really need?
Yeah, it sounds shallow, but money is always number one, because that helps keep us going. We have a very high rate of not return, but 92% goes straight back into the charity. 92% of money donated, and the other 8% goes to administrative costs like gift wrap and stuff. But we're an all-volunteer organization, so we always need people. If you want to come down to the North Pole or go up to the ranch and kind of feel us out and get the lay of the land, that's great. And if you want to stick around and continue on like many of us have, that's great too, because like any organization, people move away or, people get older. And so we always need new people in addition to the funds and that sort of thing. As far as small businesses are concerned, or large businesses, any kind of a toy drive, bicycle drive, blanket drive, jacket drive.
So if you're having
all of
an
the
event,
above.
you just partner with them and
Yeah.
raise funds or donations.
Yep.
It's
Just
easy.
put a bucket outside and
Yeah.
ask people to bring new toys, and those are awesome. And we have never said no to any of that kind of stuff. So we very much appreciate the businesses around, especially in Woodinville, that have really helped us over the years.
Yeah. So even that you're listening to this show in April, you can do a toy drive now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't have to wait till the end of the year.
My cousin actually started a golf tournament last year that far exceeded our expectations, but it was in August, and we did move it, or he moved it to July this year because he wanted the Christmas in July theme.
Perfect.
And so he actually just sent the
started
flyer, and sure enough, it says Christmas in July. So I think it was a jewelry store or
Was
something
it?
like
Oh
that.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
So yeah, probably.
But so now it's a golf tournament at Echo Falls,
There you
Christmas
go.
in July. So
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Join
anybody
the
who's
golf
listening,
tournament.
please consider donating. This is just a fabulous fund, cause, whatever you want to call it, and they do so much for every those
Right
people
here in
need
our backyard.
in our backyard.
Yep.
So perfect. Website address one more time for us.
ForgottenChildren'sFund.org.
Perfect. And Troy, if we want to get hold of you and you can't wait till the next episode to hear about reverse mortgages, where can people find you?
Tend, T-E-N-D, hometeam.com is the best spot.
And if I want to give you a call and ask you outright?
Call or text 206-504-3660.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Greg. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, Troy, for keeping us...
And I said porch pounder already?
You did, yes.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
trying to ignore that one, but thanks for the wine.
Yeah, thank you guys for
It's not
having
a
me.
porch pounder.
For
Yeah.
real, thank you for
Yeah,
having
yeah,
me. This
yeah,
this has been really fun, and thanks for the wine.
Yeah.
It's
And the
been a
water.
pleasure. Well, hopefully you'll come back on again and tell us how things are going
Sure.
and any other needs
Sure.
that you have. So, all right. Until next time, thanks very much.
All right.
All right, thanks, you guys.
Bye.
Bye. Hi there, podcast listeners. Are you in the market for a new home or looking to sell your current one? Well, we have the perfect solution for you. Introducing Tend Home Team, your go-to real estate company here in the Pacific Northwest. With over 20 years of experience, our team of experts know the local market inside and out, and we pride ourselves on being community-focused so you can trust us to find the perfect home for you and your family. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned homeowner, Tend Home Team has got you covered. Our passion for real estate and commitment to provide an exceptional service will ensure a stress-free experience every step of the way. So why wait? Give us a call or visit our website today and let Tend Home Team help you find your dream home. We can't wait to hear from you. 206-504-3660 or tendhometeam.com.